All right, shalom, shalom. This is the brother Yawasap of the GMS Cleveland Church, giving all praise, honor, glory. Call Allah, Allah, Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Waha, Harakakodash, Wakatham. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who taught me this truth. Peace and salutations to the Akim around the four corners of the earth, wishing the truth with faith and sincerity, risking their lives and the freedom to do so. Shalom to the Akwath and the Akim out there listening and learning. Lord will, this is an edifying video. Shalom to the confusion of faith, brethren, join on to our ranks, as well as those that's joining on. Well, I just said that, Salakia, and I forget, you get so much in the routine of saying a little, salute and greeting and whatnot. I forget that, the elders made a decree, there's no new members, so, but like I said, that's not a discouragement once again, because if it's the Lord's will or if it's meant for you to be, part of GMS, you're going to come in at the end of the day. And also, it doesn't stop you from doing the work because you can always go start your own account. But that being said, Salakia for that. But I already introduced myself. I changed it up a little bit this time. I introduced myself from the get-go of the video, but this is the brother Yawasap out of the GMS Cleveland Church, a fellow servant. Coming at you with another lesson. Lord will is edifying. This video is on paganism and witchcraft. And just based on Mother's Day, I have been wanting to do this lesson, but you know, how Babylon is, kind of got sidetracked. But I tend to like, I tend to keep and put aside information for lessons I may choose to do in the future. I'm glad I did that because, our camp we are it's mandatory that we do 4 videos a week. One on the Shabbat. So like I said, I'm trying to go in the direction of the paganism and witchcraft, if that be the Lord's will, So I want to start off with a scripture. This is the book of Leviticus 20 and 27. And it says, a man also or a woman that hath a familiar spirit or that is a wizard shall surely be put to death. They shall stone them with stones. Their blood shall be upon them. So that's a straightforward scripture. I know people like to take the scripts and deny this or deny that, or as Elder Malcolm likes to say, y'all like to watch these shows, Game of Thrones. You understand, and that's a perfect analogy, by the way. I was into Game of Thrones. I got into it before it blew up. But I was into the book before they even have a series. But he said something very consequential, you know what I mean? Like, you can't deny this. He said y'all can get the fact that you got these different houses, the house Targaryen, the house Stark, the house Bolton, you know what I mean? You got all these different houses and y'all understand, well, that's that bloodline. But then when it come down to the Bible and the Israelites, and y'all can't get that. So at the end of the day, just like that straightforward, pretty much this is, it's saying that a man or Salaki, a man also or a woman, so either or, that have a familiar spirit. We're going at it real quick. H178. Oh, water skin bottle, necromancer. A necromancer, one who invokes the dead, ghost, spirit, or dead one. One that has a familiar spirit. Or that is a wizard, H3049. Yid D Oni. A knower, one who has a familiar spirit, soothsayer, necromancer, shall surely be put to death. And I'm going to leave it at that one. H4191. Muth, to die, kill, have one executed. So that's pretty straightforward. You can't get around that. But it was a few different articles, and I don't want to try and, like, I'm good at the reading. I'm good at searching out information and then, presenting it. But at the same time, we're supposed to read the Gospels. Lord will, I try to be on point with that, so I still try to give scripture. But, the elders are going into that as far as, you got brothers doing commentaries for whole videos, And, I love the fact of how Apostle Gabar went in on that. He said at the end of the day, I think we're all guilty of it to a certain extent, but at the end of the day, you teach the scriptures. But I want to just bring out, it was three different articles, but basically people don't realize that this place is still promoting paganism. I mean, you got to remember that this empire has incorporated the philosophies of other empires. And just at camp yesterday, we were talking about a brother was recommending that movie Alexander the Great with Colin Farrell and Angelina Jolie. And I never really wanted to see it, but I remember when it came out, he was saying it was a really good movie because at the end of the day, it stayed true to the history. He was saying how, like, when Alexander conquered the Medo Persians, he took on their philosophy, so he started dressing like them and whatnot. And that's the same with America. That's why America is that beast. That's why, is that that was wounded and healed. I can't remember where that scripture was at. I know it's in the book of Revelations. Salaki, let me bear with me for a second. Salakia for that. Revelations 13:3, and I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed, and all the world wondered after the beast. So the beast is those conglomerate of nations, which America's part of. Actually, America is the whore that sits upon it. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, America is the Roman Empire resurrected, reincarnated, basically. Because when you take the time to think about it, like I was just with one of the brothers when we was leaving camp and we going past our city hall. It's not coincidence when you look at most of these cities, and I've been out of the state of my city, and what's lucky, I've been out of the state of where I'm from and been to other states, and all of these, like, especially like they city halls are shaped in the Roman fashion, in the Roman manner. It's like Roman architecture. That's not by coincidence. So that's why it says that beast with the head wound or fatally wounded was healed, because Rome has come back, it's reincarnated in this society. But it's not just Rome, this is ancient Egypt, ancient Babylon. When you take the time to look at the customs and the philosophies of this place. That's why you got a place like this, do as thou wilt. This place is supposed to be so-called based on biblical principles, when you got them Puritans and the Pilgrims, but then you take the time that's how you show you, and you should realize that Esau's the devil. These people came over here talking about they were being persecuted. They had the audacity to really say that they really felt like they was in the Exodus. That God was guiding them here. Yet and still, and I'm sure he was, because all this is like the master chess plan of the Most High. But at the same time, they get here and basically rape, rob, and murder the indigenous people, the Gadites, the Northern Kingdom that was already up here, and all they did was help them survive. So what I mean, but that's part of the curses and part of punishment of the Most High. But nonetheless, but these people that's talking about that they believe they was they believe so much in this Bible. So at the end of the day, without further ado, because I don't mean to make this lesson that long, I'm jump right into it. It was three articles I wanted, but I might just read them one. And I got a few different scriptures. We're going to see how the Spirit and what direction it takes me. I'm not going to try and read this too long. It says by Rod Dreher, Learning from the Final Pagan Generation. That's why I wanted to get it. This is July 9th, 2018. It says, I've been rereading today The Final Pagan Generation. Salakia. I've been rereading today The Final Pagan Generation, a history book by Edward Watts. What follows are notes I made from my reading. Stay with me. In it, Watts focuses on the final generation. That's the Spirit. I was just speaking on that. In it, Watts focuses on the final generation of Romans born into a world in which paganism was uncontested as society's dominant religion. That is, those born in the early 4th century. By the time they died, the empire was officially Christian and paganism was fast, rapidly declining. Though Watts says we have evidence for active pagans as late as the 7th century. The world of childhood for the final pagan generation was a world in which the gods were intimately woven into everyday life. You couldn't imagine that there wouldn't always be there. You couldn't imagine that they wouldn't always be there. Children were initiated into the pagan life by household rituals that made religion part of the wallpaper. Reading this early part of the book was a challenge to me, and reading other historians of the early church as well as cultural anthropologists, I learned that a religion has to have strong cultural and social expression to last. And I'm just going to interject right there because they're talking about religion when at the end of the day, the Bible isn't a religious book. You know what I mean? You know, man turned that into religion. That was the law, statutes, commandments, and customs of a group of people. You know, we constantly go into that whole, the word religion goes into religio, which means to bind. And when you go into the whole, like, look at how the Catholics and, just look at, when you take the time to think about this to show you how that's the false prophet and that's a wicked ass system, you know. And I know this for a fact, at the end of the day, that's why you got that universal, Catholic is like the universal church. Catholicism, that's why, you have I remember I was going to a Methodist church and I was talking to a female that was in the Philippines. She was going to a Catholic church. I was going to a Methodist church. And I asked her, I said, what y'all going to? I mean, what scripture did the priest bring out? And she was like, this was before I was in the truth, by the way. She was like, I forgot what scripture. And I should always remember that, but I don't. And she brought it out, and it was funny because that was the same scripture our pastor, well, he wasn't really my pastor because I wasn't a member of the church. You know, this is when I was going through my testimony. Eh, the pastor at the church I was attending was supposed to go into the same scripture, but he didn't. He did his own little lesson. But my point is, you know how they give you those little like the curriculum of what the church goes through, like if it's gonna be singing and doing this, and then like the itinerary, and it said what scripture, and it was the same scripture. And and I was like, wow, you know what I mean? And that's what proved to me that, like I said, like they gotta go through a curriculum set up by. That's why it's called the Catholic Church, the Universal Church. You know, all these churches pay homage to. You know what I mean? Real talk. So that's what I say. And that Catholic Church gonna play a part in a lot of people taking that chip, that mark of the beast. But not to digress. Um, Let me skip something. From my readings of Watts, it's because paganism have become strictly cultural for most Romans. The final pagan generation was born into a world that contained a vast sacred infrastructure that had been built up over the past 3 millennia. Like most pagans, didn't even notice the ubiquity of the gods in everyday life. The educational system was focused on as much on socializing the ruling class as educating them in Roman culture. To maintain the elite social system, the children of elites had to know each other and become embedded in each other. The closed system of elite education kept elites from receiving the massive changes that were coming over the empire after Constantine's conversion to Christianity in 312 and consolidation of power in 324. Even Christians didn't grasp the meaning of it all at the time. Says Watts, it was easy to imagine a Christian Roman Empire as it was to imagine a Roman imperial rail network. This is what I thought it was. I assumed it would have been something else. So, Salakia for that Akium. But I do have another article. Because the whole point of me bringing this out is to actually talk about Americanism, paganism. So this is more so where I should have went. Salakia for the other article. It says Quartzy. The U.S. witch population has seen an astronomical rise. This is October 4th, 2008. Kurtz, Sanjita Singh Kurtz, and Dan Coop. Spiritually is now firmly placed. Spirituality is now firmly placed in mainstream culture. The growing interest in astrology, driven by millennials, as well as the popularity of crystals and tarot cards via the ballooning wellness industry, have brought mysticism from the fringes and right into your Instagram feed. Wow, did not know that. Look at that. They say the witch starter witch kid up. However, as the cosmetic giant Sephora Salakia recently found out mysticism and its moral Salakia and more formal manifestations, which culture are not topics to be taken lightly. When the company tried to com- commodify and condense witch related practices into a starter witch kit, they managed to piss off a bunch of actual witches, forcing the kit's manufacturer to apologize and pull the product. And this is lightweight, pretty much. I mean, like, I'm glad I just showed that much of that. That in itself is enough. They actually popularized and commercialized a witchcraft kit. It looked like it got they sage. Wow, what the fuck? Salakia. I said I was going to try to start. I'm trying to do a new thing. So, I mean, if it's, certain words come out, that's just the spirit. But at the same time, trying to increase my vocabulary is words you could use as opposed to, a profane word. The kit was clearly aimed at dabblers in witchcraft rather than those who actually practice it, which was perhaps part of the miscalculation. Data on the existing population of self-identified practicing witches suggests that a robust and growing witch community exists. By the number of witches, Wiccans, and pagans, though the data is sparse, what we do know is that the practice of witchcraft has seen major growth in recent decades. As the witch anesthetic has risen, so has the number of people who identify as witches. The best source of data on the number of witches in the U.S. comes from assessments of the witch population. Not all people who practice witchcraft consider themselves Wiccan. But that doesn't matter, though. You know what I'm saying? Just because you don't consider, and we go into this all the time, just because you don't consider doesn't mean I mean, what does that mean? It's a scripture in Romans that said, just because a person's unbelief doesn't mean that things won't come to pass. You know what I mean? Or roughly paraphrasing, you know what I mean? Just because you don't consider yourself a witch doesn't make you. And this is not directed towards the heathen. This is directed to Jake because it would be Jake that's really heavily involved in this. At the end of the day, the heathen can do that. It's Jake that ain't supposed to be doing it. It says, not all people who practice witchcraft consider themselves wicked, but the religion makes up a significant subset. And then it's going into what Wicca is, which I'll read a little bit. Wicca is a largely Western religion movement that dates back to the mid 20th century in the U.S. and UK. According to Wicca.com, it's a belief system informed by pre-Christian traditions originating in Ireland, Scotland, and Wales. But shit, I watched the one brother, Man of Valor. He did a video on now you got these Christian witches. See, the thing is, you got a lot. Like so much truth is coming out now, and then you got people don't know where to turn. You got a lot of people lost. So you got people that's been in the church for years, and they finding out, well, damn, you people ain't been telling the truth, yada yada yada. Just because of how Esau the devil is pushing his media. Come on, you got TV shows that what's the word? Popularize witches and whatnot. He Charmed and Sabrina and all this other shit. So at the end of the day, they put on a pedestal. And like I said, he did a video on now you got these Christian witches. How the fuck you gonna be anything outside of the law, statutes, and commandments is idolatry and paganism and witchcraft. It's sorcery. Rebellion is as a sin of witchcraft. But I don't know if I'm gonna read this whole article. While the U.S. government does not regularly collect detailed religious data because of the concerns that it may violate the separation of church and state, several organizations have tried to fill the data gap. From 1990 to 2008, Trinity College in Connecticut ran 3 large detailed religion surveys. Those who have shown that Wicca grew tremendously over this period. From an estimated 8,000, 8,000 Wiccans in 1990, they found that there were about 340,000 practitioners in 2008. That's in 18 years. Do you see the number jumping it? That means in 18 years, it jumped 332,000. They also estimated there were around 340,000 pagans. Although the rise of witchcraft has a long and complicated history. And before the wellness and beauty industry became recently obsessed with it, Witches have been fixed in the popular imagination for centuries, and from Snow White to the Crucible and to um, Melisandria, Melisandria in Game of Thrones, beauty, sexuality, and the quest for eternal youth have been baked into our perception of witchcraft. That perception is also, of course, tied to a bloody history of persecution of witchcraft practitioners, and the term witch itself has been used as multi-purpose misogynistic slur. It perhaps it's perhaps that centuries-long perception that has led modern-day witches to reclaim the term and even coalesce into a political movement. Some modern witches, such as Courtney Brooke, place themselves in a subset of witches that adhere to feminist dogma and identify themselves as feminist witches, which is truth to this. You know, you got women that's all about. I mean, and that's why you got that scripture. Let me bring that up. You know, you got a lot of women that gravitate towards that because they talk about the feminine energy. Like, what's that one singer? One of the brothers in our camp posted something about it. She was talking about how they think they should ban men from sex. That little funny looking black chick, or she looked like she might be. I mean, she looked like she Jake. Well, you know, our woman is rebellious anyway. She more than likely she is Jake for just making that stupid ass comment. You know what I mean? She was talking about banning sex because for against any man that doesn't want to support women's rights or some goofy ass shit. But 1 Samuel 15-23. And that's why a lot of women gravitate towards witchcraft. 1 Samuel 15-23, for rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft, and stubbornness is as iniquity and idolatry. Because thou hast rejected the word of the Lord, he has also rejected thee. So at the end of the day, a lot of so-called women run into, they jump into that witchcraft because of, you know, it's to promote, like I said, because they promote feminine, you know, of course, I mean, which is truth to it. You know, women have an energy just like men have an energy. Like the one brother from Men of Valor, he was talking about how you had all these great men that sacrificed sexual energy for greatness, like Tesla. I'm pretty sure Tesla ended up getting married. But I'm not for sure though. I know Tesla died alone. But my point being, you know, he was talking about how, you know, that's power behind it. Just like women have a power, you know what I mean? The Most High didn't create just man or just woman. It took both of us to create life, you know. But the seed does come out the man. The man is the one that has that power that's, you know, to produce that seed. And it takes that woman to actually, you know, she has the equipment and that power, you know, to actually nurture that seed. And the Most High knew what he was doing when he did that. But to show you, like I said, how rebellious of a people these people are, you know, you got people talking about he messed up when he made me a female. But then at the end of the day, it all goes back ultimately to the Most High. You know, the Most High put that delusion on you. You know what I mean? That's the book of Romans. But I'm not even going to go into the article. I mean, pretty much I brought out the fact that, I mean, that was self-explanatory. It's talking about how there was a rise in paganism. And that's a scary thing. Now, that was 2008. We in 2019 now. So just imagine how the numbers jump more than that. And then besides the fact, the numbers are well more than that. Believe that. You got to remember, you got all these secret organizations. It's a known fact that you got Masons and what. I met a Mason. You know what I'm saying? If I actually put it on, you know, if I put it on this video, when I tend to say certain of my experiences, my videos mess up. But my point is, you can't tell. I know for a fact what people say about them when it's derogatory ain't necessarily just fucked up. I met a Mason, and I know what he said. And if I tell it out there, people are like, what? And I'm looking at him like, you trying to convince, just because they convinced your dumb ass to be a Mason with that goofy ass logic, you gonna try and tell me that, you know what I'm saying? But it's based, I mean, I've seen a Masonic book and everything. I know for a fact they fucking practice left hand shit. They're on the left hand path. You cannot sway me. Like, I was gonna buy the book, but it wasn't meant for me to buy the book because I'm sure it was demons all on the book. But I was gonna buy the book and try and bring out a lesson on it, but that wasn't meant. That book probably would have fucking had me all messed up. But Salakia, so let me jump into the lesson. I'm gonna bring out a few scriptures and then it's over with. Because, like I said, as far as what you saying that female doing, this is nothing new to Israel. Israel was always following and committing, um, following after paganism and other gods, and doing these sorceries and incantations. That's why it's in scripture. There's multiple verses of it. That's what it says in the book of Ecclesiastes. Is no new thing under the sun. This is Second Kings. Well, I'm gonna go into the king. I'm gonna start at verse 1. Second Kings, chapter 16, verse 1. In the 17th year of Pekah, the son of Remaliah, Ahaz, the son of Jotham, king of Judah, began to reign. Verse 20. Let me select it. Verse 2. 20 years old was Ahaz when he began to reign, and reigned 16 years in Jerusalem, and did not that which was right in the sight of Yahweh his power, like David his father. So his forefather was David. Because you got to remember, it was a time when you had righteous kings and you had wicked kings. And I believe it was more so wicked kings than it was righteous. And that's pretty much, well, Solomon has solidified. Was it Solomon? I mean, it was already prophesied that the kingdom was going to be split up before them. But at the same time, all these played a part in the kingdom being split up. Well, this time the kingdom was already split up because the kingdom got split up with Solomon. Salakia, not Solomon, with Solomon's son. Matter of fact, it didn't get. It was Solomon. It was the sins of Solomon because matter of fact, when Solomon started paying homage to the gods of his concubines and his foreign wives, the Most High said he wasn't going to rend the kingdom from Solomon's hands. He was going for the love of David, but he was going to take it out of his son's hands, and that's when it happened with Rehoboam and Jeroboam. It's funny how Scripture is working on the mind. That's how you know how weak these bodies is for real. Verse 3, but he walked in the way of the kings of Israel, yea, and made his son to pass through the fire. Pass through the fire. H784. Fire, flame, supernatural fire. Damn, look at this. I thought it said something else. I'm about to say, what? Salakia. According to the abominations of the heathen. So that was a practice of the heathen. And I got a book right now that it was talking about like the Baal and the Baal temples and the worship of Baal. That was what the rituals of Baal, which they still do today. You know, I remember when they first brought out about the Bohemian Grove and you see that aisle and you see that fire. What people don't realize, we're still, that's how cold the Bible is. So that's how cold the Most High is. After all these years, after them trying to mess with it, and because best believe they tampered with it. I mean, that's why you got the slave Bible. That's how you know who the devil is. It says in Scripture, anybody to add to it or take away from it is actually, is going to see the lake of fire. You know what I mean? But it says, whom the Lord cast out from before the children of Israel. So at the end of the day, this is nothing new. Our people's always been caught up dealing with this idolatry. And it was, the Most High actually forbid that book of Psalms. You got our people, like with the worship of Baal, they would sacrifice a child, which people doing now, with their Planned Parenthood and whatnot. And it's funny, now we living in a time where they're trying to ban abortion. And, the brother from Houston, the elder, Tazapah, he was saying how, he said, it's funny, I know this Edomite is tripping because he's like, the one righteous thing he do, he said, now people was, bucking up against it, what I mean? But that really ain't got nothing to do with Jake. You got to remember, Planned Parenthood was started for Jake. That's got to do because these Edomite women is having too many abortions. They numbers down. That's a proving that they numbers down. Come on. And for all these years since Planned Parenthood been going on, and the biggest consumer of that was, the nigger woman. It was Jake. That's a known fact. That's why they used to make them comments about the most dangerous place for a young black child was in the womb of a so-called black woman. Says, where's they did not destroy the nations concerning whom the Lord commanded them. Verse 35, but were mingled among the heathen and learned their works. Verse 36, and they served their idols, which were a snare unto them. Verse 37, yea, they sacrificed their sons and their daughters unto devils. So this is nothing new, you know what I'm saying? But it also says in scripture that cursed is the man that actually does this. Deuteronomy 27:15. Cursed be the man that maketh any graven or molten image, an abomination unto Yahweh, the work of the hands of the craftsman, and putteth it into a secret place. And all the people shall answer and say, Amen. Cursed be he that setteth light by his father or his mother, and all the people shall say, Amen. So basically, at the end of the day, our people put it, partake into a lot of like what's the word, superstitions and pagan rituals. I mean, take an honest inventory of oneself. I could honestly say I remember growing up in a household watching, you know, my elders do certain things and habits that we picked up. It's just funny though how to show you how powerful and real the spirit is and the power of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai is. Because at the end of the day, it's certain things as an Israelite you just naturally know not to do. It's certain things that just naturally like, wow, that was always naturally like, wow, what. And then, it's certain things that, contradict that, you know what I'm saying? I can name a few different things I done saw growing up in the household like that, you know what I mean? You come out, find out that that's paganism, you know what I mean? But like I said, our people was always into it. Like I said, back then, I just read, at the time of in the Old Testament, shit, Salaki, even in the New Testament, in the book of Acts. It's the book of Acts 19 and 17. And this was known to all the Jews and the Greeks. Let's see what word that is. G1672. Hellenistic. Hellenen, a Greek either by nationality, whether native of the mainland or of the Greek islands or colonies. And I see why they say that. Like they trying to change up shit. It's a Greek either by nationality, whether a native of the mainland or of the Greek islands or colonies. So basically, that's the correct definition. But then see how they put part two in there? In a wider sense, the name embraces all nations, not Jews that made the language, customs, and learning of Greek their own. The primary reference is to a difference of religion and worship. These people was full of shit. Like I said, this white man is the devil for real. He literally, how you gonna say part one? Like the part one is the right one. Because Hellenistic, or Hellenen, when you go into that, is a Greek speaking Jew. You know what I'm saying? Because you gotta remember, these different captivities, the Bible goes into the Israelites being, you know, when they went off, they usually went into slavery. I mean, it's multiple times about, come on, we in slavery now. This captivity, not only is we in slavery, you got the other nations in slavery. They don't think they in slavery. You got some with more, a little bit more leeway. You got some that could, because you got all these other nations that's over here, and they still got like the passports, and they still got the citizenship in the other country, so they can run back. That's why you got the Arabs that stay over here for 7 years, run back, because they make money here. You know what I mean? They profit here, but at the same time, you're a slave to this system, though. You know what I'm saying? Once all this shit switch over, especially if you get involved with that chip. But continue. It says, and this was known to all the Greeks, Salaki, all the Jews and Greeks also dwelling at Ephesus, and fear fell on them all, and the name of the Lord Yahushua was magnified. Verse 8, and many that believed came and confessed and shewed their deeds. Verse 19, many of them also which used curious arts, which is G4021. It says per e ergos, and busy about trifles and neglectful of important matters, especially busy about other folks, be of things impertinent and superficial. Verse 1 of magical arts. That was too long. It's curious arts brought their books together and burned them before all men, and they counted the price of them and found it 50,000 pieces of silver. So at the end, they proving that this is nothing new for the Israelites. Uh, Slovakia. Salakia. This is Nahum 3 and 4. Because of the multitude of the whoredoms and of the well favored harlot, the mistress of witchcrafts, H3785. Sorcery, witchcraft, simple as that. And the mistress of witchcrafts that selleth nations, and I was just speaking on all these people come to this place to make their money and get indoctrinated with their philosophy through her whoredoms and her families through her witchcrafts. So this is speaking on America. So, like I said, that first article I brought out about the paganism of this place proclaims to believe in the scriptures and the God of the Bible, but they don't. I mean, they do everything opposite of the law, statutes, and commandments of the Bible. You know what I'm saying? And that shows you that the devil really runs this place. He's a sly, cunning, like I said, like we was going into the word serpent. When you go into that, like Elder Ramlam went into Elder Apostle Ramlan went into, that serpent, that snake, and he went into the definitions, and it's a sly, cunning person. Don't get me wrong, Esau's cunning. Esau's so sly and cunning, you got to take the time to think about it. I have been duped like this when I was in the world. Esau sit up there, be smiling at you, and have you really believe in what he's saying, and when at the end of the day, you got to remember, it says in scripture, never trust thine enemy. So at the end of the day, you got to remember, I mean, I am not, I'm not growing up in this day and age where they're trying to change history. When I was going to school, we were slaves. You get what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, knowing that, how could you ever fall a victim or really trust in this, devil? You know what I mean? Trying to think of a scripture to lead us to I got one to leave it though. I didn't mean to make this that long. Is you got people that's, like I said, I just showed you the number, and like I said, I guarantee you them not even the true numbers. I mean, you got people that practice, this left hand path behind closed doors secretly. And then you got people that's openly doing, but those are the peon puppets. You got your politicians that's off into this. You got your entertainers that's off into this. I know this for a fact. You get what I'm saying? Like at the end of the day, that's why, you know, certain people have brought out the fact that you got to sell your soul to be in a position or a part of this system. Isaiah 47. Isaiah 47:10, for thou hast trusted in thy wickedness. And that's from Esau to these two-third niggas. Majority of these people trust in his wickedness. Thou hast said, none see of me. Thy wisdom and thy knowledge, it hath perverted thee. And thou hast said in thy heart, I am and none else besides me. And that's Esau though. You know what I mean? Because Esau really think he a god. And two-thirds think that that's they God. Like real talk. But and they you got some that bit off their philosophies. Like I said, you had a Jake walk up to us account one time. He wearing a pharaoh. We asked him, "Do we know what that mean?" He like, "It don't matter what it mean. What it mean to me." You know what I'm saying? I'm a king. Yet and still though, how are you a king in another man's kingdom? This is the idiocy of Jake though. Verse 11, therefore shall evil come upon thee. Thou shalt not know from whence it rises, and mischief shall fall upon thee. Thou shalt not be able to put it off, and desolation shall come upon thee suddenly, which thou shalt not know. Verse 12, stand now with thine enchantment and with the multitude of thy sorceries. So to Esau, who's really into that shit, because like I said, this system is based on a lot of ancient philosophies, Canaanite philosophies, Egyptian philosophies, Roman philosophies, and the Roman. I mean, you can go look that up. Romans was into left hand path and witchcraft. Greeks was. I skipped the Greeks. I meant to say the Greeks and then the Romans. And you got the 2/3 into it. You know what I mean? Like I said, I just heard Apostle or Elder, somebody was just speaking on, they were saying like our people was heavy into this. I think it was Apostle and Ramlock. Verse 12, stand now with thine enchantments, meaning trust in your enchantments. Stand with that. And with the multitude of thy sorceries, wherein thou hast labored from thy youth, if so be thou shalt be able to profit. He said, if shall be, he said, from thy youth, if so be thou shalt be able to profit, if so be thou mayest prevail. Verse 13, thou art wearied in the multitude of thy counsels. Let now the astrologers, the stargazers, the monthly prognosticators stand up and save thee from these things that shall come upon thee. So we living in the day and age. I mean, you got all these different tarot readers, especially where we go down on the west side. Like when I was on my lot, it's a few over there. The damn demon that I had children with, she actually used to work for some of these people, and I should have saw it. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, yeah. At the end of the day, but that's neither here nor there. But you living in a day and age. You got shit. You can up late night. You call this 1-800 number and learn your future and all that. And I just proved. Come on, they talk about your home witch kit. You know what I'm saying, with the sage and all. It say so. Trust in these things. Since that's what you would have trusted. Verse 14. Behold, they shall be as stubble. The fire shall burn them. They shall not deliver themselves from the power of the flames. There shall not be a cold or warm at, nor fire to sit before them. And that fire that's coming, what is that fire? They're not gonna be able to save themselves from. Isaiah 66:15. For behold, Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh will come with fire and with his chariots like a whirlwind to render anger with fury and his rebuke with flames of fire. Verse 16, by Salakia, for by fire and by his sword will the Lord plead with all flesh, and the slain of the Lord shall be many. So at the end of the day, people trusting in, this divination, this witchcraft, this left hand energy, when wickedness has power, but I mean, certain movies show you that wickedness has power, but the wickedness doesn't have as much power as righteousness. You know what I mean? It may appear that way, but and how he's gonna play with all flesh is through those those ICBMs and them laser beams. So with that, I'm gonna end the lesson. We live in serious times. I don't know if people realize that, you got a lot of stuff going on, you know. And it's funny, we looked at like we crazy, but at the same time, in what way? You got these people so, and a lot, I've heard a lot of brothers and elders bring this up. Esau has been the perfect devil. I mean, he got these people so blinded to the point. It's been but you know what? And that shows you he really controls the information, because I know about the flooding and whatnot because I go to outside sources of media. I used to wonder, my brother used to watch that Fox 8 News shit, and I'd be like, This shit's stupid. We're just showing the same fucking news. We live in a world where shit go on day by day by day by day. Actually, every hour is something somewhere in the world something happening. But we just you talking about the same story for a week straight. Like they pacifying you. I mean, it just show you how lost a lot of people is. They don't even realize, we're gonna have a drought. Like them little food stamps, them over. I know for a fact. I constantly go into this. I put money with my food stamps to make it through the month. You got to be a budgeting master, a samurai budgeter or something to go ahead and take that little $200 and last through the month, cause everything going up. Shit, all these ain't even cheap like that no more. Yeah, certain shit, but at the same time, like, and all these about to try and switch over to the all non-GMO. So when they do that, their price is gonna be up. I like all these to a certain extent. I don't buy their meat, you know what I mean, or I try not to. I buy some corned beef here and there, but I'll buy like because they got the almond milk, they got the smoothies, they got a lot of the good oils like avocado oil, they got olive oil, canola oil. That's neither here nor there. My point is, like, people ain't affected by that drought yet because shit. And then it's gonna be a hot summer too. Like we just witnessing that yesterday. Summer don't officially start till like June 20th or something like that. We only like going on the 20th. We got a whole month, and it's already that humid, real dry heat. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, you know, they already talking about the corn shortage. You know what I mean? Like it's just gonna be woo. Most high, it's gonna be terrible with this, and then that's when people gonna want to be oh God, because I've seen it happen. I've been in jail multiple times. You know what I mean? Then that's when everybody want to get super. You know, I believe. You know what I mean? Like so, Lord, I just ask that you order my steps, if it be your will, and see me through it, and all the other sincere Akim from the elders on down. And with that, I want to give all praise, honor, glory, call Allah, Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Ba'ashem, Rakakadas B'Kadam. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who taught me this truth. Peace and salutations to the Akim around the four corners of the earth, pushing the truth with faith and sincerity, risking their lives and freedom to do so. Shalom to the Akwaf and the Akim out there listening and learning. Lord will, this was an edifying video. And until next time, Adawan Ratasa, I'm able to get at you soon. And with that, shalom, shalom, and abad babal.